Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Live at 4 on this fake Monday.
It's Tuesday, so we're going to be messed up all week. Hope you had a nice holiday weekend, everybody.
It was nice for a couple days. Yesterday was not so nice, but Sunday was perfect.
Very, very nice. I went to a wedding on Sunday, so the weather was just perfect for that.
But not today.
Not today, no.
Hopefully,
actually, it's not too cold.
Yeah, hopefully things will be getting better. We'll get to the forecast in just a second. But first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. Our Madeline O'Neill shows us what UW assistant basketball coach Howard Moore and his wife, who was killed in a tragic crash this past weekend, mean for the community.
We are all thinking about them. We'll have that update in just a second. The state's budget writing committee is working on the governor's plan for the university. Our Rose Schmidt has a live report from the Capitol on what it plans to do.
And severe storms continue to wreak havoc, this time on nearby states of Ohio and Indiana. The destruction is just unbelievable.
Let's take a look outside today. It was cloudy and a little bit on the mild side. This is the Pheasant Branch Conservancy. That's a very pretty shot.
A little milder are the weather words, and Dana is on the backyard weather patio with the details on that. Not a bad evening.
Not a bad evening, no. We do have the chance for a few scattered showers, but the threat for any sort of strong thunderstorms coming through or any severe weather, we're going to keep that well to the south for us right now. Northern Illinois, they're dealing with some stronger thunderstorms, but our Doppler track is currently pretty quiet. Again, a few rain showers possible tonight, but otherwise just cloudy and a little below average. We're at 60 currently in Madison, about 61 in Janesville. It's a little cooler than where we were at this time yesterday. And a little breezy also, about 13 miles per hour for us in Madison, coming in at 14 for Monroe and in Janesville from the northeast. And we are expecting our temperatures over the next few hours to kind of hover right around 60 and then stay in the 50s for us overnight. The rain chance stays overnight, but by tomorrow, we're looking at milder temperatures in the forecast. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead for your Wednesday in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, we're not seeing any major backups and no accidents to report. This is the Beltline right at Park Street. Both in east and westbound actually seem to be rolling along okay at this time. We're seeing speeds get reduced a little bit on the eastbound side the closer you get to John Nolan, of course. Verona looks fine, but McKee Road and 151 delays around that area. And in Janesville, we aren't seeing any major hiccups right now. Our 39 and 90 should be a pretty smooth drive for you this evening. 27 minutes from Janesville to the Beltline, 17 from Sauk City to Middleton, and from Sun Prairie to downtown. Should be about a 60-minute commute for you this evening. A little cloudy outside, but not too bad this evening. Again, tomorrow a little milder. We do still have a few rain chances, though, for your Wednesday.
Be nice to dry out at some point along here. All right, Dan, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, the Madison and Middleton communities are preparing for the return of UW assistant basketball coach Howard Moore and his son Jarrell, ready to show them just how much they're loved.
The two are recovering in Ann Arbor, Michigan after a car crash that killed Moore's wife Jennifer and their 9-year-old daughter Jaden Saturday morning. Our Amanda Quintana is here with more on what the family means to our area. Tragic story.
Yeah, very tragic. And after talking to some of their close friends today, it's very obvious that Jen Moore was just one of those people that would do anything for someone, oftentimes for people she didn't even know. The couple created the Moore Foundation to stop violence in Chicago, but Jen has been giving back here in Madison, volunteering at Middleton schools, putting together Christmas meals for the homeless, one time throwing a baby shower for a woman that she just met.
We went around, we delivered dinners and Christmas presents, and that's the kind of people they were. They were just out to just anybody in need. That's what they was all about. And
Vince Carey has known the couple since they were freshmen at UW, though he says there's a big community here ready to help Howard and his son with anything they need. He knows it will be hard to come back without his wife and daughter. 9-year-old Jaden went to West Middleton Elementary. At 5, we will hear from the district about how they're mourning the loss and talking to her classmates about this tragedy. Of course, she was just 9 years old.
Yeah, tragedy indeed. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Madison police swore in its largest graduating class this morning. 50 new police officers will be joining the Madison Police Department. A big turnout for their graduation ceremony at the Police Training Center on the east side. The recruits had a variety of backgrounds ranging from retail security officers to Air Force experience to special education teachers. Congrats to all of them. A plan to continue freezing tuition at the University of Wisconsin schools is up for a vote in the state's budget committee today.
That is a key part of Governor Tony Evers' higher ed budget proposal, which a committee is making changes to today. Rose Schmidt is live from the Capitol with the very latest on that plan. Rose.
Yes, well, just within the last half an hour, the Joint Finance Committee started debating the budget for higher ed and funding for the UW schools. And we're learning that the Republicans plan to make substantial cuts to Evers' plan. Republicans are proposing continuing that tuition freeze for 2 more years, but they would cut the funding increase that Governor Evers has proposed. Republicans in charge of that state budget committee have said Evers' plan spends too much. They now plan to scale back the $110 million in additional funding that Evers proposed for the UW system. Now let's break down what Evers wants. $50.4 million to pay for the tuition freeze, which GOP leaders are now proposing to cut. The governor also proposed giving UW $45 million to attract and retain students in fields in high demand. That includes fields like STEM, nursing, healthcare, and business. But Republicans would eliminate that plan. GOP leaders also would not give the UW schools $10 million to pay for a program establishing fellowships and loan programs for nursing students. GOP leaders say they would give $45 million to UW with a catch. The money would only be released to UW after it submits a plan for how to pay for that funding. The full 2-year spending plan will likely be sent to the full legislature next month. Back to you.
Rose Schmidt, live at the Capitol. Rose, thank you.
Violent tornadoes left a trail of destruction across Ohio and Indiana this morning. Aerial footage shows the damage left behind in Celia, Ohio. A man died when the wind blew a car into his house overnight. It's part of a string of twisters that demolished homes and uprooted trees.
From the air, it just looks absolutely horrible. You see not only roofs of houses off, but you see just everything just like splintered. You know, the power of a tornado is, you just can't believe it until you see it.
Twisters also touched down across Indiana. Federal officials say preliminary reports show more than 50 tornadoes may have touched down today across 8 states in the midsection of this country.
President Trump is back at the White House after a 4-day trip to Japan. Before his departure, the president told sailors and Marines that he is committed to increasing military spending. The visit to the USS Wasp was the president's last stop, and it allowed him to mark the Memorial Day holiday while overseas.
This includes money for 5 new guided missile destroyers, 4 new nuclear-powered fast attack submarines. That's the one you want? Okay, we got it.
President Trump praised his trip, saying the U.S. and Japan are now closer than ever before. However, the president and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe were not able to come to an agreement on a new trade deal, saying that will likely have to wait until August.
The Supreme Court has weighed in on another abortion case. This time, the court is allowing part of an Indiana abortion law to stand, but another part that lower courts declared unlawful will not go into effect. Natalie Brand is at the court with a look at the ruling and what this could mean for the wave of bills being passed in states around the country.
The Supreme Court weighed in Tuesday on part of an Indiana abortion law meant to make it harder for women to receive some abortions. The Supreme Court sidestepped making a decision on a 2016 Indiana law passed to prohibit abortions based on a fetus's gender, race, or diagnosis of a disability. Justices upheld a lower court ruling blocking that law from taking effect. But the Supreme Court ruled it would allow a part of the law that requires clinics to bury or cremate fetal remains. Then Governor Mike Pence signed the bill into law and stood by it even after the initial court decision declared it unlawful.
I will continue to stand for the sanctity of life for the unborn, especially for those with disabilities.
The Supreme Court will likely see more abortion cases coming its way. 8 states have passed more restrictive abortion laws this year. 5 have already passed so-called heartbeat laws, which ban abortions after 6 to 8 weeks. And Alabama passed a near total ban on all abortions, even in cases of rape or incest. Lawrence Gostin is a professor of health law at Georgetown Law.
I do not think that the Supreme Court is ready now or in the near future to review any of these really highly restrictive laws.
Louisiana is expected to take up a vote tomorrow on a bill to ban abortions outright after 6 weeks. On Capitol Hill, Natalie Brand for News 3 Now.
And Louisiana's Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards says that he will sign that state's abortion bill into law if it is passed. The celebrity foursome that will headline the American Family Insurance Golf Championship was unveiled this morning.
It's a big one.
It is.
Jack Nicklaus and Brett Favre
Get out of town.
will take on Andy North and Toby Keith in a 9-hole exhibition on Saturday, June 22nd at University Ridge Golf Course. The 4th annual AmFam Championship tees off that Friday and features a 78-player field. Now that is a foursome.
That is a
You're
foursome.
a big golfer, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
love
Jack
to?
Nicklaus.
Oh,
yeah,
it's exciting to see him in
very
Madison.
exciting indeed. Well, there's more to come at 4. The fight against the opioid crisis hits the courtroom.
When we come back, Oklahoma has become the first state in the nation to go after the makers of pain-killing addictive drugs. We'll find out what happened in court today when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Welcome back. The nation's first opioid trial began today in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma becomes the first state in the country to go to trial against the makers of painkillers that critics blame for the nation's opioid crisis. In his opening statement, Oklahoma's Attorney General called the opioid epidemic the worst man-made public health crisis in the history of the country. He blamed consumer products giant Johnson & Johnson for fueling it.
How did this happen? At the end of the day, Your Honor, I have a short, one-word answer: greed.
At the peak of the opioid crisis, overdoses killed more than 500 Oklahomans a year. In 2017, the state filed a lawsuit accusing major pharmaceutical companies of executing massive and unprecedented marketing campaigns, misrepresenting the risks of addiction, making billions of dollars in profits, and leaving Oklahoma to bear the enormous costs of the resulting public health crisis. This is the first trial out of hundreds of lawsuits against opioid manufacturers, and it will be decided not by a jury, but by the judge.
Trade concerns with China continue to weigh on the markets. The Dow Industrials fell 237 points, ending the day at 25,347. The NASDAQ Composite Index was off 29, and the S&P 500 lost 23. Well, there's a great opportunity tomorrow to learn a life-saving skill, how to stop life-threatening bleeding in the event of an accident.
Stop the Bleed is a nationwide campaign. It was launched in 2005 in response to the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. UW Health joined Stop the Bleed last year. UW Health trauma surgeon Dr. Hee-Soon Jung is part of the team that will demonstrate techniques to stop bleeding. Welcome to Live
Doctor.
at 4.
Thank you very much.
Nice
Thank
to
you for having
see you.
me.
Why is this a skill that's important to know?
In cases of life-threatening bleeding, it's really hard to get to the person who is bleeding out fast enough. So to teach the public how to stop bleeding is really important.
It's pretty basic.
Yep. We basically teach people in an hour and a half how to identify what life-threatening bleeding is and how to stop life-threatening bleeding with 3 simple techniques. One is just pressing direct pressure on the wound. Another is wound packing. You would take a piece of gauze like this, which is a hemostatic gauze, and you would just pack it into the wound, and then hold pressure on that. And then we show people also how to use a tourniquet.
Yeah, we'll turn that just so the camera can see it.
So this is somebody's leg.
So this would be somebody's leg.
Okay.
You would basically just pack the wound as much as you can. And for time's sake, I'll just say I've packed it fully. I would just put pressure on it with both hands and put pressure on it. And then also we teach people how to use commercial tourniquets. This is one of the samples of the commercial tourniquets that are available currently. This is a cat tourniquet. And basically, people would learn how to apply this to a leg that's bleeding and twist it to a point where the bleeding would stop. Then you would leave that, and then the bleeding would be controlled.
But I'm not carrying around this stuff on my person.
Not right now, but I do actually, for myself, I actually carry one at home and I carry one in my car. We are working with groups around the county and around the country to make sure that these devices are available right where your AEDs would be. So this would be something akin to CPR. So I think we really do feel that as trauma surgeons that controlling bleeding is one of the most important things that people can learn.
And this is not expensive equipment here at all.
No, something like this with a package with everything included would probably run about $50.
This is a skill you would never necessarily think you might need to know, but if you would come upon a car accident or something like that, you could potentially save someone's life.
Absolutely. Even though this came from Sandy Hook, this really applies to all facets of life. This can happen as an injury in school. A child could get injured and a nurse can quickly put on a tourniquet to save their life. Or you might come upon a car crash like you were talking about, and this would be an opportunity for someone to really intervene and really make a difference.
So if I have a tourniquet, where do you put it?
You would
above
identify,
or below the wound?
Sure. You would put it right above the wound, about 2 to 3 inches above the wound, and basically you just put it on and twist until it's done.
And you come across somebody in this situation. I mean, that's very traumatic for the person that needs to apply this. You have to remain calm. I assume that's part of the training.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is just to get over the first step, the barrier. The first barrier is just knowing what to do. And I think that providing the skill set really helps people get beyond that. And I think that's the most important thing. Really to show that it's really not that difficult, that it's really basic. Just putting pressure on somebody's wound with a t-shirt or gauze that you might find because they're bleeding. I mean, that I think is a simple thing for people to do. So really, I think the course gives them that opportunity.
And time is of the essence. How much time do you have before things get dire?
If people are really bleeding to that extent, people can die within minutes. So even before sometimes EMS can even get there. So that's why it's really important for us to teach the people who are there at the moment how to stop bleeding.
People know CPR, they should know this as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
All right. The Stop the Bleed event is tomorrow from 5 to 7 at the Health Sciences Learning Center. That's right next to UW Hospital. For more information, go to uwhealth.org. And
this is free, right, Doctor? And
Yes,
anyone can
absolutely.
show up? What a
Yep,
great
open to all.
opportunity.
Thanks for being with us.
Great to see
Great
you. Thanks for
information.
coming.
Thank you very much.
Still to come at 4, the new live-action remake of Aladdin was the weekend box office champ.
We'll find out what our film critic Will Loper thinks of Will Smith as the genie. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Take a look at this. The annual British cheese rolling competition took place in the English countryside with racers tumbling downhill after wheels of cheese. The event attracts thrill seekers who chase a wheel of double Gloucester cheese down a steep slope in 3 separate races, each with a winner and a separate cheese prize. The first written evidence of this event dates back to 1826, but the tradition established long before, some suggest perhaps as a pagan ritual.
We never did see the cheese.
I haven't seen it. I didn't see any cheese at all.
It's just people fucking.
Where's the cheese?
Oh my goodness.
They forgot.
They forgot the cheese.
Having broken my wrist this year, this is like making the hair on my neck stand up.
Yeah.
Oh.
But they have fun. They have fun doing
They
it.
fun. Somebody
Didn't
might
they do
have
this
gotten
on
hurt.
Amazing Race once?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
they did.
Rolled down the hill.
Yeah, after the cheese. That was a funny episode.
It was.
Well, today is National Hamburger Day.
So the question, of course, is what is your favorite burger joint? Offers.com surveyed customers to find out. Here's a look at the restaurants that made the top 6. Five Guys, In-N-Out, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, and Shake Shack. Culver's, of course, deserves to be on that list.
I would think.
I've got a bone to pick with these people.
Five Guys is good.
Five Guys
I love
is,
them all.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, Of course, they're chains.
And Madison has some great hamburgers locally.
Seriously.
Did you make it to Bratfest this weekend?
I did not.
No?
It was an indoor packing and moving.
That's right. They moved into their new house. Congratulations.
So thank you. Did you guys make it to Bratfest?
No, I did. I made brats at home.
You made brats at home.
Yeah.
Susan, did you make it?
No, I didn't either this year.
That's why they didn't break the record.
Well, I think maybe the weather contributed to it, too.
It really wasn't playing in our favor for us, unfortunately, over the last few days. We had a few nice moments, don't get me wrong, but also some dreary moments mixed in there. The rain, of course, not helping at all. Right now, it's cloudy outside and a little cool. We'll take a look at what's ahead for tomorrow, right after the break. It's a little gray and cloudy outside right now, but the good news, our Doppler track is quiet. There is a little bit of rainfall for us to the south and west, so we may start to see that creep on up just across the state line. So there is the chance to see some showers developing throughout the rest of the evening, but that severe weather threat is really staying to the south for us. That marginal risk crossed just into the southwest corner of the state, but we're really not expecting much to develop. Looking ahead to tomorrow, there's the chance for a few isolated showers, but thankfully, again, the severe weather is going to stay well to the south, this time to the south and the east. Not expecting anything to really develop for us heading into tomorrow. This cold front is just down to the south. This low pressure bringing showers and storms throughout the Midwest. We're seeing some stronger storms right now at the edge of Iowa and into Missouri, parts also into Kansas and Nebraska, seeing some stronger storms currently. The temperature difference here, very visible there. That we got warmer air just south of that line. Temperatures right now in the 80s for central Illinois. And then, of course, we're holding on to 60 right now. And those 60-degree marks go all the way down through northern Illinois also. So warmer air well south of us. We have a little cooler air in place currently In Wisconsin, we should be in the low 70s for afternoon highs. We're a little closer to 60, unfortunately. So we will stay mostly cloudy through the rest of the evening. Our breeze still coming from the northeast. And that shower chance starts to creep in. Most of the rain is going to stay to the south, but we do have the chance to see a few isolated thunderstorms overnight. By Wednesday morning, we still have cloud coverage and the chance for some showers to come through later in the evening and into early Thursday. And then throughout the day on Thursday, we're planning on a variably cloudy sky. So a little bit of cloud coverage, a little bit of sun, just more clouds than sun for us heading into Thursday. Overall tonight, things will be fairly quiet, even with that little bit of rain coming on through. We aren't expecting anything too wild in southern Wisconsin, and temperature-wise, it's going to hold pretty steady for us also, only dropping to the mid-50s with that cloudy sky in place. By Wednesday afternoon, still cloudy. Temperatures will be a little more mild outside tomorrow. It'll be closer to 70 for our afternoon high, so it'll be a little closer to average. About a 10-degree jump, actually, from where we're at today. Thursday morning will fall yet again to the mid to low 50s. And then in the afternoon, with that variably cloudy sky, it's going to give us a little more sun. So we do have the chance to get closer to the mid to upper 70s for some areas, especially the upper 70s for the western edge of the state. So that's going to be a big difference for us by the end of the week. Temperatures just steadily becoming a little more mild as we head towards the weekend. As far as the precipitation coming through for us tonight throughout the day on Wednesday in spots and the chance for early Thursday, it's really not going to bring a lot of accumulation. That's the good news, of course. We've picked up a lot so far just in the last week or in the last few days. We do have the chance to pick up a few tenths of an inch around Madison, maybe just over a quarter of an inch, but there's not going to be much coming through. Over the next several hours, our breeze is going to stay pretty calm, about 5 to 10 miles per hour for much of the evening into overnight. Temperature-wise, will steadily fall, but hold pretty steady in the 50s for us. We'll be close to 54 for our overnight lows. The chance for some patchy fog early in the morning tomorrow, especially in those lower lying areas, as our temperatures will be close to our dew points. The chance for a few showers and thunderstorms also, but that's mainly along the state line and south. Breeze still coming from the east-northeast. Tomorrow is continuing to come from the northeast, but it's going to be a little milder outside. Close to 70 for our afternoon highs tomorrow, and then we'll be in the lower 70s on Thursday. Thursday, there's that slight chance for a few showers and thunderstorms. Sunshine expected for us on Friday in the mid-70s for Friday and Saturday. Saturday afternoon, unfortunately, is going to come along with the chance for rain and a few isolated thunderstorms. Heading into Sunday and Monday, though, we get the sunshine back, and we don't have any rain threats in the forecast for Sunday and Monday right now. Another opportunity for some showers will start to creep in later in the day on Tuesday. And notice by next week, it seems like our temperatures are going to be a little more steady in the mid to upper 70s. So we'll start to hover just a little closer to average. That's a quick look at your forecast.
You look like a prince on the outside, but I didn't change anything on the inside. Showtime.
No, I'm in charge, okay? I say when it's time. Really?
That was a clip from Aladdin, one of the newest movies to fly into theaters.
Should you hop on your magic carpet and head to the theater to see it? Here to let us know what he thinks is our film critic, Will Loper. Will Smith is Aladdin.
Or Will Smith, the genie.
Is the genie,
yes.
yeah.
Well, hey, guys, no need to rub any magic lamps here and wish for a better movie. The latest in Disney's march of live-action remakes ends up being one of their most fun and enjoyable to date, even if it still doesn't quite live up to the original. So this stays, pretty close to the 1992 version. Street urchin Aladdin finds a lamp, rubs it, and Will Smith as the genie gives him 3 wishes. He uses one of the wishes to become Prince Ali because he feels that's the only way to win the affections of Princess Jasmine. The movie is fast-paced, it's got action and adventure. The middle of the movie turns into a romantic comedy with one of the most hilariously awkward scenes involving jam I've ever seen in my life. And look, nobody could ever fill Robin Williams' shoes, and this movie really works best when it just lets Will Smith do his Will Smith thing rather than try to match Robin Williams' manic energy in any way. Now, I usually find these Disney remakes to be a little unnecessary to make in the first place, but this one manages to stand on its own just enough to make it worth seeing.
Will Smith being Will Smith is funny.
Yeah, just let him do his thing, and the whole middle part where he's trying to land a date and just go to a party, it's so funny.
And the songs are all there?
Songs are there, the ones you love and remember, and they'll be stuck in your head for days like they are with me.
A whole new... Okay, what's the rating?
Mark, 3.8 jams out of 5.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, very good.
Up next, Booksmart.
So 2 high school seniors, played by Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, go in search of a party before they graduate high school And you know, it's just never that easy to find a party, is it? This movie is hilarious, it's smartly written, and it's just a great movie about the bond between two friends over a night of shenanigans. It's also very R-rated, but it's absolutely worth seeing.
What's the rating?
4 Billy Lords out of 5. Carrie Fisher's daughter is a whirlwind in this movie.
Oh, that's great.
High rating. All right, next week.
Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic.
Oh, a lot of buzz around
Yes,
this one.
I'm very excited.
All right, well, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Well, shopping at a local farmer's market can be a ritual for many people.
Consumer Reports tells us how to shop them safely. That's when Live at 4 continues.
It's a busy control room, people.
Here's our director, Dylan, and our producer, Steve. A little glimpse in the control room.
There you go. With food recalls topping the news lately, you may be looking to shop locally, thinking it's a better way to go.
You've certainly got plenty of opportunities. There are more than 8,700 farmers markets in this country. Ours is the best. They're registered with the Department of Agriculture.
But is shopping at the farmers market risk-free? Leah Linscheid in Consumer Reports tells us how to shop safely.
For Joe Wallace, weekend mornings aren't complete without a trip to his local farmers market.
I love the market because we've gotten to know some of the farmers over the years.
Hello.
Welcome back. And I love the market because the food is really excellent.
Farmers markets are a favorite, and for good reason. They can offer fresh local foods, but that doesn't always mean they're safe to eat.
Food sold at farmers markets can definitely still present foodborne dangers, including dangerous bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria.
Sana Mujahid is a part of the food safety team at Consumer Reports. She says following a few simple tips can help you shop safely at your local farmers market. Be sure to only buy cider, milk, and cheese that has been pasteurized. This is especially important for pregnant women, young kids, and people with compromised immune systems.
Pasteurization is a process that heats products like milk to a specific temperature for a certain amount of time. This kills dangerous bacteria and also extends the shelf life of food.
Bring multiple bags. Keeping ready-to-eat items separate from things like raw meat helps avoid cross-contamination. Also, look to be sure vendors are wearing gloves to handle unwrapped foods. And cold items, such as eggs and meats, should in fact be kept cold.
A typical refrigerator should be set at 40 degrees. If cold food sits at temperatures warmer than that, then bacteria can grow pretty quickly.
And use plenty of ice, along with a cooler bag for perishables. Buying them last, like Joe, also reduces the risk of spoiling. For News 3 Now, this is Leah Lynchide.
And Consumer Report says no matter where you shop, it's important to practice food safety at home, including washing all produce thoroughly, even if you peel it.
Bacteria on the outside of foods like melons and cucumbers can end up inside when you cut them or peel them. I always wash the outside of a cantaloupe.
I guess that's a wise thing to do.
And our farmers market is the largest producer-owned market in the whole country.
It's producers only, yes.
Yeah.
It's all just farmers. They're growing the stuff.
Right, good stuff.
Well, coming up, Madison native David Marinus' new book focuses on his family and his hometown.
He is in our green room, and we'll hear about the origins of a good American family. David will join us when Live at 4 continues.
No accidents right now, but the Beltline, of course, going just a little slower than what we would like to see. In fact, as we look at Park Street, we have those delays on the eastbound side. Westbound actually also seeing a few brake lights in spots when usually westbound seems to be a little smoother for us. But those delays likely going to continue on at least for the next hour or so as more folks hop on the roadways. Looking at the eastbound side again, those speeds over towards when you're hopping off just past Seminole Highway, we're back up to about 55 miles per hour. But as you get closer to downtown, those speeds get reduced just a little bit. Westbound also has a few hiccups. Verona doesn't look too bad right now. McKee Road, we do have those delays, and near Janesville, we aren't seeing any major delays right now except for 26 as you approach 39. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. Author David Marinis has won 2 Pulitzer Prizes for his work at the Washington Post and is best known for his biographies of Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Vince Lombardi, among many others.
That's for sure. His latest book, Marinis turns his attention to the story of his parents, who in their youth were members of the Communist Party USA. The book, thank you, Vanna, is called A Good American Family, The Red Scare, and My Father. David, welcome back to Madison.
Thank you both.
And welcome back to Live at 4. Great to see you.
You too.
So the Good American Family is your family.
It is, yes. And it's really, the whole book is about what does it mean to be an American. It's true that my parents were members of the Communist Party as young people. They never advocated the violent overthrow of the government. They wanted to try to improve this country. My father would say he was stubborn in his ignorance for a time. But he's being called un-American by a chairman of the House Un-American Activities Committee who had voted against every civil rights bill, who had been a member of the Ku Klux Klan as a young man. My father fought for 4 years in World War II, was the commander of an all-black unit in World War II, and he wanted to deliver a statement to the committee about what he felt it meant to be an American, and they wouldn't let him read the statement. I found it 63 years later researching this book.
And how did that affect you, reading that statement?
It was very powerful, and because it's a 3-page statement that's really strong about what it means, freedom of speech and freedom of the press. But what struck me first was just seeing the typewritten pages, because my dad was a hunt and peck typist, old school newspaper man, and he would cross out T's and R's and X's of them out, and the S in statement jumped up a half notch. And when I saw that for the first time in my long life, I thought about what it must have been like for him at that moment, you know, when he was in the crucible of the most difficult period of his life. Now, he survived it really well, and you know, one of the things I want to say tonight is Madison saved our family.
How so?
Well, we got here in 1957. He got a job at the Madison Capital Times, which had spent a long period fighting Joseph McCarthy and the McCarthyism of that era. And he just was able to start anew. And he taught me all the lessons of journalism that I've carried with me. Don't fall for any rigid ideology. Search for the truth wherever it takes you. All of those lessons, he had gone through a period of learning and growing, and he inculcated it in me and my sibling.
Well, when your dad was called before the committee, it was 1952.
Yes.
Was that? You were how old?
I was 2.5.
Okay, so you were just a little peanut.
I don't remember anything about that, but then there were 5 years where he was blacklisted, and we bounced around from to grandparents in Brooklyn, to grandparents in Ann Arbor, to Cleveland, to Detroit, Iowa, and then
that's why
finally
you ended
here.
in Madison.
Yes.
Well, did you ever, in adulthood, did you ever talk to your dad about these experiences? Did he share?
He didn't really want to talk about it. It wasn't that he was embarrassed about it, but he changed, and he didn't want to be defined by that period of his life. You know, in Madison, he was a highly revered newspaper person and was open to everybody and all ideologies. The first person who called me and my mother when he died was Tommy Thompson. That shows the sort of respect he had. So it was just something that was in his past that he really didn't want to talk about. And, you know, I wasn't going to write about it while he was alive.
Is it hard to write about your family? You write about everybody else.
Is it hard to be objective when you're writing about your own parents?
Well, sure it is, but I tried to use the same approach I would about Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or anyone else, which is, I knew there would be some parts of the book that would be difficult for me, you know, saying to, like, what were you thinking, Dad? You know, at various points. But he taught me to do that, to go for the truth, so I was able to do it. You know, you're right, I'd spent years studying people who were strangers to me, and they became familiar. And here I was going to study someone intimately familiar to me and worried that he'd become more of a stranger. That didn't happen. I came out of it, and I think the reader will, with a stronger appreciation for what my father endured, what he believed in, his love for America, how he learned and grew from that, and the resilience both of our family and of this country.
How did you go about researching this book?
13 archives around the country, from the National Archives where I found my father's statement to all over the country, and then went to Spain because my uncle, my mother's brother, fought in the Spanish Civil War, and that's a central part of this book as well. It was sort of the Spanish Civil War had all of the isms of the 20th century: communism, fascism, Hitlerism, liberalism, anarchism, all were there. And 3,000 Americans went over to fight against Franco. And when my uncle came home to the University of Michigan, that's where my parents met, at that meeting where he was honored by 600 students for coming home and surviving that war.
How did this book affect you?
Pretty deeply, really. I mean, this was a shadow of our lives, but I'd never really explored it before, and studying it made me understand myself better, my own sensibility about a lot of things, including race relations. My father writes 100 letters in this book about what it meant for him to be the officer of an all-black unit and the difficulties that those young black men faced and how he tried to give them a fair shake. And I think that my whole family has a sense of racial justice that sort of emanates from that. And there are other aspects of it, sort of a feeling of outsiders, realizing why Madison saved us and how, that's why I try to give back to this city so much, because I appreciate what it did for us.
Well, we appreciate your work. Thank you for being with us, David.
David, great to see you.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to talk to David and hear more about the book, he's holding a talk and a book signing tonight. It's 7 o'clock at the Madison Central Library downtown. The event is free and open to the public.
Congratulations again, a good American family.
Thank you.
David. We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. Nice September day.
Yeah. What? Again,
It's a little gray outside. It's a little cool outside right now. 60 currently. Thankfully, we're not looking at rain, just cloud coverage for us. In fact, as we look at our Doppler track, there is the chance for some showers for us later this evening. Most of the rain is going to stay to the south, but as you can see, starting to get close to Dubuque and Grant County, we could be seeing some rainfall there at the southwest corner of the state in the next about hour or so. Temperature-wise, we should be in the low 70s. Right now, we're at 60 in Madison, 63 in Janesville. We will fall through the 50s overnight, with the clouds staying with us, unfortunately. Tomorrow, though, milder.
And no rough weather, just rain.
Just some rain chances. We're not looking at anything too crazy tonight.
Yeah, we're lucky. It puts in perspective with everything else going on.
We are so lucky. Those poor people, day after day.
Absolutely,
the same
yes.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, it's called Farm to Feast, and you can take part.
We'll tell you about the Madison Magazine experience. It's taking place at the Crave Brothers Farmstead in Waterloo. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.
We'll be right back.
Well, earlier